Hey y'all, my name is Lane with Coffee with the Constitution, and for this first video, I'm just going to give a brief overview of the Constitution and how it's set up and briefly explain what each article does and explains. I will get into more details about each article in future videos. In fact, I'm going to make one video for each article, so I won't go into too much detail because it's just a brief overview. But I do want to explain it a little bit. So I got my Constitution and my We the People hat on. So let's get started. So the Constitution is divided into two parts, and that's the preamble and the 7 articles. And the preamble lays out the 5 goals for the Constitution. And I'm going to read it right now because it is just beautifully written and awesome. So we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So that was the preamble, and you can clearly hear the 5 goals in there, and those are just what the goals of the Constitution are, what it's supposed to do. And most of those are pretty self-explanatory, but just to explain, ensure domestic tranquility just means to ensure peace in the country, like domestically, just ensure that there's peace. And secure the blessings of liberty just means that the Constitution the goal of the Constitution is to protect our liberty and our rights from being infringed upon by the government. So then there's Article 1 that explains the legislative branch, aka Congress. And Article 1 is actually the longest article in the entire Constitution. So clearly the founders thought Congress was pretty important. And there's so much to Article 1 that I will definitely be making its own video, but one thing it does is it divides the legislature, Congress, into a bicameral one, meaning it has 2 houses, and those houses are the House of Representatives and the Senate, as you probably know, or you may not know. That's what I'm telling you. And it just explains the qualifications for representatives and qualifications for senators, how long their terms are, etc., etc. I will definitely be doing a video on Article 1 by itself because there is so much to tackle there. And then Article 2 is all about the executive branch, aka the president. And it explains the qualifications for being president, what its role is. Again, I will be getting into all of the specifics on that in a future video by itself. And Article 3 is about the judicial branch, and it establishes the Supreme Court, and it also gives Congress the power to create lower courts, and that's like the U.S. Court of Appeals, the District Court, and all that. And surprisingly, the number of justices that will serve on the Supreme Court is not in the Constitution. It's varied throughout our history. Like, the first Supreme Court ever in 1789 only had 6 justices on it. And now we have 9, and we've had 9 since the late 1800s, after the Civil War. I can't remember the exact year, but it's been that way for a long time. So those are the 3 most common, the ones most people have heard of. And now we get to Article 4 that is less common. So I'm going to tell you what Article 4 does in general. Article 4 just talks about state issues, relations between the states. And I don't want to go into too much detail because that's for its own video, but an example of one thing Article 4 says is if you're accused or convicted of a crime in one state and you flee to another state, you'll be returned to the original state. Like if I commit a crime in Florida and I flee to Georgia, I will be returned to Florida. And then Article 5 is the amendment process. And the founders did not want to make the amendment process too easy. They wanted to make sure when we amend the Constitution, there was something really, really important that basically all the country was on board with, like the 13th Amendment, which banned slavery, or the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. And so that's what the 5th Amendment is. We're making a video on that. And the 6th Amendment is the Supremacy Clause, which that just means that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and state laws and state constitutions are below in authority to the Constitution, and they cannot violate what the Constitution and federal law says. So that's what Article 6 is. Like if there's a conflict between a state law and the Constitution wins. And Article 7 is not really relevant to us today, but it was just the founders explaining the process for ratification, like back in 1787. And it just says that they needed 9 out of 13 states to ratify the Constitution in order for it to be approved and established. And what else is this? It's very short. I'll just go ahead and explain it. And well, I guess I can go ahead and read Article 7. It's very short. So here we go. The ratification of the Convention of States shall be the ratification of the conventions of 9 states shall be sufficient for the establishment of this Constitution between the states so ratifying the same. Done in the convention by the unanimous consent of the states present the 17th day of September in the year of our Lord 1787, and of the independence of the United States of America the 12th. And witness thereof we have hereunto subscribed our names. And then it lists the signatures of all the founders that signed the Constitution. So that is the Constitution, just briefly. And stay tuned for more videos. And be sure to like, comment, and share this video to your story to teach people about civics and how our Constitution works.